know a lot of you Mopar guys have been waiting for this. Yesterday, the very first SFI transmission case for a 727, and I believe a big block bell housing SFI bell housing was shipped to my shop for my inspection. So, without further ado, let's crack this baby open. These are the first ones to the first case shipped to America. So they're not made in America. I'm a little conflicted about that, but no one stepped up to the plate to make these. And then everybody's like, well, why don't you, John? If you want me to tell you the truth, if I was a younger man, I would do it, but I'm not. 2025, I'm going to turn 60. I don't plan on working forever. So if I was like 55 or something, I would do it. It would be a very big, very big ordeal taking on something like this. So, all right, we have the big block bell housing. And I see it's got a little bit of a diesel accent to it. This cover here takes the 3 little screw diesel inspection cover on there. I see that. It's casted SFI and FI, the company who makes it. Looks awful shallow, so we'll have to see how thick that the bell housing is. I can tell by how thick this is right here. This is some real beefy part of it. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bolts that the bell housing will bolt to the transmission case. Unlike an Ultra Bell, it's not going to bolt to the pump. It's going to bolt to the transmission case. And I can see there's a receiver groove here, which is one big dowel pin to center that bell housing into the case. They look like there is some brackets here. The factory bosses. I'm not sure. They probably just put that on there for whatever reason, because usually there's one on the other side. They only did it on this side. This may be for kickdown leakage, which is there for, well, no, diesels have cables, not linkage. All right, well, there's the bell housing. So we'll set this off to the side and we'll open up the case. The main guy who runs this joint is he's coming to the shop in a week or two. He's coming to the shop in about a week or two, and we will be discussing more of what's going on. He's also making 48 cases and bell housings. So if you wanted to put an overdrive behind a big block, it is now going to be super, super easy if you want to buy the case and bell housing. I don't have the exact pricing on this yet. And I'm not going to probably until these are in production. I would imagine this is a prototype and not a production. They're saying right now it's the middle of October 2024. They're saying the very beginning of 2025 we'll have a production run of these. That way we'll have them for the 2025 racing season. So they're making E4OD cases, 545R FE cases, 727 cases. I know a couple people asked me about 904. I don't see that happening. Not yet anyways. All right, here it is. I get a drum roll. Whew. A lot going on here, buddy. Let's do our first test fit. This is a 48 case that they made some changes to the rear and to the servo to make it a 727. There's nothing wrong with that. You can see the boss right here, which is unmachined, is where the 48 electronic, the black plug, the 8-pin connector would come through. They changed how it'll take a 727 a 727 neutral switch. I want to get the camera. I really want you guys to get a close look. I'm going to go over a couple of things that I see. This is where, if it was a 48, would have a hole there where the plug could come through. It's going to take a regular 727 neutral switch. The linkage seal is the same as the 48. There's your band adjustment stud, hole, your front cooling line, and these are torque converter pressure in and out. Or if it was a lockup, it would be apply and release. I really think that's a neat feature. I had took my transmission dyno, and if you look at my page years and years and years ago, I was I believe I was the first one to check these two pressures on a gauge on a dyno. Now I see other people doing it, which is fine. That's cool. I seen John Muldoon just got himself a dyno, and he did the same thing. He tapped the case, but here you don't have to. These two bosses are for a 48. They have that little kick-down module motor that bolts onto. You will not need that for the 727. It should be no interference. You can see that the inspection cover here is a diesel. The machine bores look good. I had to do a test fit of everything. I'll show you I took a 727 gasket with the bolts and put it on the back, so you're going to see how that goes. And then you can see the 4 holes for the rear support. This extra flanging would be the bolt hole locations for the 48. And then they give you a couple extra pressure taps. This is for 3rd gear. Normally you don't have that. This is for 2nd gear. They got the accumulator right here, which is normal, and this one would be line pressure only if you had a stock valve body. And what's this one? I don't know what that one is. I have to track that down. Oh, that goes to the servo too. So that's a servo. That's a servo. I don't know what that is. I'll have to see. I really like the thickness of the webbing. I see that they got their own style of a bolt-in sprag that's in the case. I'll have to talk to them about that and see if that's how all the cases will be, because I'm pretty sure I can still put my drag sprag in here, but I'm going to have to see. This is the rear cooling line to the lube that goes to the support to the output shaft. This is where the large suction used to be on the 48. I see they got it the standard size suction. Where the lever goes for the 4.2, the low reverse lever. I also noticed that you can get to the lever nut without taking the bell housing off. No, that's not for that. That would be down here. Here it is. You'll be able to get to the lever nut without taking the bell housing off, which is really no big deal, but I mean, it looks good. It looks actually really good. However, we have to test everything. And let's look at that rigidity by the case. There's no doubt this case is thicker, and it will be SFI approved. But this is a Mopar guy talking to other Mopar guys. There's no way that's going to contain a transmission explosion. You take it from a guy who exploded one in 90 or 89, and I'll show you pictures of what my car looked like. Not only did it go through the transmission case, it went through the band. It took the sun shell out with it, and it went to the floor. Unbelievable. And even though this webbing is thicker, right here where the drum would be, you know, it's got these reinforcements. I mean, the only way to test it to see if it will is to build the transmission with a busted sprag and then purposely explode it. But I'm telling you, from a guy from first-hand experience, first-hand knowledge, I exploded one. And to this day, it's the only one of my transmissions that ever exploded. It was my very own on my Coronet, the car I still have. This is juicy thick, but this is aluminum. That drum will go right through that. Okay? However, anybody who's going to be running these items in their vehicle for certification, because we can't get transmission shields, this will act as a transmission shield and a ring gear shield. I would hope that if you're to this point to where you're going to need something like this, that you would have a billet drum. I would hate to see anybody buy all this and put a stock transmission in it with a valve body. I really think that'd be foolish. So even though this case is going to have, you know, certifications, SFI certifications, I would still run a billet drum. That's just my opinion. I have no basis upon that. I know how violent that explosion was. It was terrible. And I've seen other pictures. And even though this bell housing is going to be certified with SFI certification, I've seen one of the guys have these in a Turbo 400. Not this brand. It was an American-made brand. Pop a rear drum in it, cracked the case, and it came and hit him in the face. So, you know, and those guys and those street outlaw guys, they're all running these transmissions with no floor, no covering, no nothing. They're exposed. They're right there, and I've seen them pop. So you have to run a billet drum. You know, to not to would be absolutely foolish. If you've come this far where your car needs this certification and you're running this fast to warrant having these pieces, you don't have a billet drum, you're a fool. It would be very, very unwise to do that. I'm just talking Mopar guy to Mopar guy. I'm not trying to sell billet drums, you know. I'm just saying it'll go right through that. Yeah, I don't know if they tested that. I don't know if they know how to test it. I know how to test it. But will I do it? I don't know. That's a lot of work. Not that I'm afraid of doing the work. I'm a little light-handed right now, so I'll have to see. But as far as the eye candy is concerned, both the bell housing and the case look awesome. Nothing has been fitted. That will be a totally new video on fitment. But as far as this thing looks, as of right now, I give it a thumbs up. It's not made in America. But there's no one in the United States. No one's just stepped up to the plate. Those Chevy guys ain't gonna make stuff from us Mopar guys. They're just like, put a 400 in it, put a Power Glide in it. That's their answer to everything. They're like, why would you want to run a Torque Flight? Yeah, these same transmissions that were in 2,000 horsepower funny cars. So I'm not going to get into that. What's better? You know, there's a lot of us Mopar guys that run just 10 flat, 9.0s that don't need to or don't want to go to a GM transmission, but yet have the certification, because you certainly can't get SFI approved transmission shields from CSR. That is like pulling teeth. You'll never get anything, and I hear they're out there ripping people off. They're taking their money and not giving any product, allegedly. So, I got a meeting with this guy from, is it FI? Is the company? They're doing a lot of castings. I got a meeting with him. He's coming to the shop, and we're going to talk about whatever. I hope I can speak Chinese. And in the meantime, my next video, hopefully in a couple weeks, will be a fitment video. I would like to put this on the dyno. If I had a big block car, which I don't, the Cornette's a Hemi, the Mr. Haney's a Hemi, and my truck is a 440, but it's a 4-speed, not a 3-speed. I would test this in a vehicle, but I'll just have to test it in the dyno. So, all right, well, if you got any questions, just put it in the comments below. Don't call me and say, when's it coming out? When's it coming out? They tell me it's supposed to be around the new year. So, but we'll see once it happens. All right, well, that's it. It's here, and the next video I'll probably actually video me test fitting every single thing. First, I got to do some measuring and make sure that everything is up to snuff. Once I feel the measurements are good, then I'm going to do test fittings with the servos and the pump and the shafts and the tail housing and the pan and the valve body and all that. So I will probably videotape every single part of that. So make sure you subscribe and like, and come back for more.